Hi there friends, welcome back to another video on Celestial Tarot's channel. Today we're going to be looking at generational trauma, what you're healing in this lifetime, but most of all, we're going to be doing a reading of your soul, what it looks like. But I do want to preface and say that not everyone's soul will be like a humanoid figure, not everyone's soul will be an animal, it can be anything. It can just be a ball of light, it can range from a flower, literally anything. The soul is not limitless. I mean, the soul is not, wait a minute. The soul is limitless. Okay, enough of that. But go ahead, pick your reading, and I'm so excited to get into this. Oh, before you do, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It would greatly help this channel grow. See you. Hi there, Pal One. Welcome to your reading. Today we're going to be looking at what you need to know. No. Hi there, Pal One. Welcome to your reading. Today we're going to be looking at what your soul looks like. And I also preface in the intro, if you maybe skip that, which I get, sometimes I do. Not everyone's soul will look the same, and not everyone's soul will be like a humanoid figure. Sometimes they're animals, sometimes they're objects, sometimes it's light, or maybe it has several different forms that it takes depending on like what timeline it's been through, right? Like, and what it's been through on that timeline specifically. But I'm definitely excited to get to know your soul. And then after that, we'll be looking into like what generational trauma are you healing. So let's get into it. For your soul and what it looks like, we have the Wheel of Fortune and the Emperor. Okay. Oh, just trying to hear, but I do want to start off and say that I originally, when I was shuffling, I saw like winged creatures. I saw like, I don't know if I've ever seen the biblically accurate angels on the internet floating around, but it's very similar to that. I do feel like your soul has wings on it, and it does have an eye. It has a very, I guess, a biblically accurate angelic form to it, is what your soul, and that's, bro, that is cool. That is really cool. I just want to say that. But I do feel like winged creatures are very important to you. I'm hearing Mayan ancestors. I don't know if somebody has links to like Mayan ancestry here, but like I see that like winged creatures are very important for you. And I do feel that your soul, so I'm seeing like a winged creature, yes. I'm seeing like the eye, the wings at the side flapping. And then I'm seeing like sacred geometry symbols like around it. And these symbols are not just there for the aesthetic, but they are like codes. What are these codes, Spirit? Show me, tell me. What are these codes floating around? They're showing me like the DNA, like the strands of DNA. And they're like spinning around, you know, like one of those animations that you see of DNA. They're showing me that. I'm hearing like building blocks of life. I almost kind of feel like the symbols around, the sacred geometry symbols around the biblically accurate angel form, it's your coding, it's your blueprint to this lifetime. And I do feel like you are strongly connected to your ancestors, because I heard the building blocks of life, which makes me think that it goes back to your foundations, it goes back to your roots, and that's why the coding is there. That's why the sacred geometry symbols are there, because in a way it represents a lot of your history and your past. I'm also hearing not just your ancestors, but like your past lives as well. So the lives that you've lived in the past. But why is it there? If it's not just for an aesthetic or show, Spirit, like why is it there? What purpose does it serve in this lifetime? These codes, these sacred geometry. If I ever go quiet, it's because I'm channeling. Okay, you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing somebody getting into a vault, but they have to punch in a code in order to get into the vault. But what's inside the vault is, you can imagine, like ancient amounts of wisdom, and it's specific kind of wisdom passed down through your family line, your heritage, your ancestry. Now this is knowledge. I'm hearing close practices. I don't know if you're in a religion or culture that involves close practices, like you have to be initiated to perform certain acts. But what I'm getting is like you have to put in the code, and you can't get in without the code, because what's behind that vault, behind that door, is wisdom. It's wisdom that is specific to your culture, specific to your family line. It's information, sacred information passed down generation to generation, and not everybody is meant to have that kind of wisdom. Not as in that like they're gatekeeping that kind of wisdom, but it's, I feel like your ancestors were very protective of this knowledge, this information, greatly, because it almost as if I'm hearing they don't want it to get into the wrong hands. And if I talk a little bit about history during slavery time, trigger warning, like you don't have to sit here and listen to this, but just a little bit. A lot of what happened during slavery, like you can imagine that, of course, at the time slaves would want, and these are real human beings. I don't mean to say slaves and like that's only what they are, but like these human beings who have been hurt, they wanted to keep sacred knowledge kept from these slave owners, right, in order to protect themselves. So I feel like that is what happened generation to generation, why this wisdom is so sacred. And I feel like the sacred geometry symbols are there because that's your code to accessing that knowledge and wisdom. It's a very unique imprint is what I'm hearing from your ancestors, and it's not there for no reason. On your soul has a unique code that is accessing information passed down from lineage to lineage and generation to generation, which makes me think that I feel like you have strong ties to healing generational trauma. Do you feel like that's going to be juicy when we get in there? But I feel like your ancestors were very protective of the knowledge that they harbored, and they were very protective of their practices. So I wouldn't be surprised if like some things in your religion or culture are considered closed or semi-closed, or you have to get initiated to perform such things, or there's certain parts of your religion or culture that were kept hidden from you, or a lot of it is word of mouth. You know, you don't really have a lot of physical evidence. Most of it is said through the mouth, because anything written, I'm hearing that anything kept through books and paper and like physical hard copy evidence, that it would just leave too much out in the open. So I feel like a lot of what goes on in your family was sent down through words and like through speaking, which is very valid, you know. But I feel like I'm hearing Slavic, so I don't know if some of you here are watching are Slavic, but I'm getting a very earthy sort of vibe from you guys. Like your soul has a very earthy presence to it, very dark, like a lot of muted dark tones is what I'm getting. I do feel like it's more so the aura surrounding the eye and like the wings that is very dark and earthy colored. I would describe it as like charcoal colors, muted grays. And these are not horrible colors, by the way. Like I feel like we all hear in the witchy community that like having a darker aura means like something horrible, but honestly no. I just feel like you have a very powerful grounding presence to you, and the darker colors to me means that you are very associated to your ancestors very heavily. And I'm also hearing earth sign energy is not to be messed with. So if you are an earth sign, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, hi, I'm a Capricorn moon. So yes, I do agree. Earth sign energy is not one to be messed with. Absolutely not. Earth sign energy, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, has very strong ties to their ancestral patterns, wounds, and generational trauma that they're healing from. So it makes sense that came through. But if you're not an earth sign or have any earth placements, it's okay. It just, to me, what's that really saying is that you're very connected to your past. You're very connected to what your ancestors went through. But I do feel that your soul is surrounded by a lot of dark colors, a lot of muted tones, like grays, blacks, charcoal color. You can imagine, what else, Spirit? I'm seeing like a snake as well. So maybe snakes are like important to you guys, or you guys like have a pet snake or something like that, or like a symbol of a snake could be important, or a tattoo of a snake could be really, really cool and important to you guys, or just snakes in general, like snake art. But I'm seeing it slither around. It's like in the grass and it's just like slithering around. What is this, Spirit? What is this? Okay, now I'm seeing the snake circle itself, like Ouroboros. If you know what that imagery is, it's kind of like that. Yeah, okay, I feel like you guys are heavily involved in a lot of cycles of the past. And I'm seeing like a butterfly as well, the imprint of one. Maybe you guys are like Scorpios watching this, but do you feel like there's a lot of transformation happening? Like, especially in your family line, there's been a lot of transformation. Lots of upheaval, sorry, and lots of, what is this transformation? I don't know why I heard the word menacing. I don't want anybody to freak out, but like that's what I heard. Okay, you know what they meant by that? I feel like your ancestors had to look menacing or be menacing or project a menacing persona because of the things that they faced and went through in their life. You know, they had to develop a very tough exterior to compensate, you know, for the lack of love that they didn't have and the lack of support. It was more so about survival than it was about like thriving at that point. Yeah. I don't know if you guys are already in touch with your ancestors and this is just kind of like a confirmation video, but like, yeah, if it is, that's great. That's great. That's amazing. I'm smelling incense. And no one's using incense around me, by the way. I can't use incense because they have smoke alarms up in here, but I don't know if you guys are using incense right now or they're telling you to use incense to cleanse, to do smoke cleanse. But I smelt it just for like a quick second, but maybe some of you guys have Indian ancestry as well, like South Indian. I'm hearing Nepal. Thailand is what I'm hearing. Filipino. Lots of different things. Mongolian ancestry, like, is what I heard. It's very interesting. Yeah, okay, so with these trees here, my eyes were closed for the entire time I was channeling that, by the way. It just helps me, but if I look at the artwork to help me, I do feel like you guys are very rooted to nature around you, like your soul is very grounded. But what the interesting part is that there's like blue water here, and like that makes me think that although you guys are very grounded, there's something very intuitive and spiritual about you, and something very flowy about your nature. Fluidity is here. And it makes sense because I saw the DNA and the molecules and it's forming and it's moving around. And I almost kind of feel like there's a sense of fluidity here. You're not like set in stone. It's not like, you know, someone's jamming a knife in a stone and it's stuck there. No, it's more so you guys have a sense of fluidity to your soul, a sense of flexibility and movement. And then what I'm seeing and hearing is that the DNA can change molecules at any time, almost like a mutation. So I almost kind of really feel that, wow, almost kind of really feel, I really feel that you guys go through a lot of molecular changes. Wow, now we get into biology, but if I spoke less in biology terms, I feel that you guys are going through a lot of alchemy in terms of your soul, that your soul has gone through a lot of changes in your timeline. And I do feel like it's encountered many different lifetimes. I'm hearing Alaska, like maybe your soul lived a lifetime up in Alaska. I don't know for what or for why, but I'm hearing that it did a journey up in there, and I'm hearing Arctic mountains that Very, very interesting. And I'm seeing like the northern lights as well. So I almost kind of feel like your soul was everywhere and had a lot of different experiences and definitely was not tied to one single location on this earth. I do feel like it was everywhere. I do feel like it was exploring. I do feel like it was a journey for your soul. Definitely your soul is not something young, and it's not a newer soul. It's definitely an older soul. The Emperor definitely is giving millennial daddy vibes, you know, so your soul is definitely older. Does not have to be masculine. Soul doesn't necessarily have a gender. For some people it does, and that's okay, but it's definitely up to what you resonate with at the end of the day. But I feel like with the Emperor, definitely giving millennial daddy vibes, and that's your soul. And very, very traditional soul that you have right now. I do feel like your soul may be focused on tradition in this lifetime and honoring and upholding some sort of tradition here, honoring ancestral beliefs, maybe honoring your religion more, honoring your culture more, honoring your roots a lot more. I'm hearing like whitewashed, so I don't know if you guys experience growing up and being whitewashed even in your own community, because there's a lot of internalized shame or guilt, and as a result I feel like your soul's mission in this lifetime is to overcome that and therefore embrace your roots and your heritage and be traditional in that sense, you know, which is so interesting. Okay, so interesting. Wow. I'm hearing like puma, like the, that's an animal, right? I haven't heard that name in so long. A puma. Hold on, because all right, well, the equivalent of that is a cougar, so maybe that's very significant to you guys. Like it would be your animal guide, maybe, or maybe you just strongly resonate with those kinds of animals like lions, tigers, cougars, panthers, which is lovely. I do feel like it goes really well with the Emperor because those kinds of species are very, I would say, dominant. They are assertive and they're not afraid to fight tooth and nail to protect themselves. So I almost kind of feel like you have a very protected soul and you are protective of your ancestral roots. But not only that, I feel like your ancestors are strongly protective over you and your roots and your journey right now. I don't know if you're very close to them, but I do feel like they watch over you a lot and they do a lot to keep, I'm hearing scribes. I don't know if your religion or your culture had like scribes or like or worked with that, you know, but like I'm feeling like your ancestors were really protective of that divine knowledge, that divine wisdom, and they really want that to continue going forward in the lineages here. And it makes sense why you might be traditional, maybe about your beliefs or values about religion and culture, because they want to help you grow with what they learned and what they knew. They want to share that wisdom with you. And therefore, they're very protective of you because they know you have a mission and they are a part of that mission essentially here, which is wonderful. Is there anything else? Maybe you guys have like Russian heritage or Russian, anything Russian related, I don't know, but maybe you guys are connected to that too, which is super interesting. All right, let's get into your generational trauma and like what you're healing in this lifetime. I'm gonna shuffle on camera. Spirit, tap me in. That was me knocking. Don't get scared. Tap me into my pile ones, generational trauma. Like, what are they healing? What do my pile ones ancestors want them to heal, like in this lifetime? What do my pile ones ancestors want them to heal? This is a wonderful deck. I love it. When I got this deck originally, I showed my best friend, and she was like, "It looks like it was drawn by a kid," and keep that hidden for now, but it looks like it was drawn by a kid. And I said that that's exactly why I got it, because it's just my inner child. Like, I love this. Like, it's so, you know, and I love all different decks and stuff, but this one just spoke to me because it's so beautifully specific and has a lot of wisdom, yet the artwork is so chill, and I love it. I love it. It speaks to me. But let's get started with your reading. Actually, wait, no, there's more cards I have to shuffle. I lied. Sorry. Okay. We're pulling out the decks for this one. Spirit, tap me into my pile ones. What do their ancestors want them to heal in this lifetime? What do my pile ones' ancestors want them to heal in this lifetime? Ooh. Okay. I don't know why I'm hearing that that one audio from TikTok where like, ooh. Oh, like that. The Jennifer Coolidge Oh my god. Okay. Let's continue shuffling. I'm betting when y'all looked at that, you were like, oh, maybe y'all know what you have to take like responsibility for, which is interesting. That can mean a lot of things. Okay, Spirit, tap me in. What are my pile ones healing generationally in this lifetime? Yeah, I'm hearing like, brother, ooh. Brother, I don't know if you know that audio, but that is hilarious. Oh, okay. We have happy family. Okay, so we're going to read this. I don't know why I'm turning it over. You already saw it, but I guess I'm just used to doing that. But let's start. Accept responsibility, the moon's reflection. Love this. We have your dreams are closer than you think, 44. And then we have another 4, happy family. So 4s are very significant for you. And what that tells me, is this in the shot? No, okay. That's not what I was going to say, but what this is telling me is that you're healing a lot when it comes to instability and family insecurity here. And I think that you're healing a lot of wounds related to, am I ever going to have a community that understands me? Am I ever going to have maybe a family of my own, if that's something that you want? And if not, completely valid, and that's okay. But I feel like you're healing a lot when it comes to what do I see for myself when it comes to my future, and how do I dismantle the narratives that were put against me when I was younger, and how were those narratives put onto me when I did not give them explicit permission to do that, right? I almost kind of feel like your ancestors are all about permission. What do you bring into your space? Why do you do that? And why do we continue to believe that? They're very much to the point. I do feel like they want you to heal. And they're not saying that you're responsible for what happened to you. Absolutely not. I do feel like your ancestors are saying that you are responsible for your growth and healing. And you are responsible for your spiritual journey and your spiritual path and how you want to let that unfold, whether that means working with your ancestors or not. But I do feel like they really want to give you a helping hand here. You know, and I do feel like whether you choose to work with them or not, they are watching over you and protecting you in the best way possible. And I feel like with this card, they want you to accept help from the spiritual realm. I feel like part of your generational healing is to accept help from the beyond, from the things that we don't see. Maybe you are a very pragmatic person and you think very linearly, and I do feel like they want you to kind of not grow out of that, but to come out of that, to try something new, to explore a little bit of what it's like to accept help from things you don't see physically. From, you know, oftentimes we accept help from people, but what about the spiritual realm? You know, hit up the spiritual realm, see what's going on, is what they're trying to say. Like, you can butt dial them, okay? But I feel that they really want you to heal a lot of what your inner child did not have, and that's that security, that comfortable feeling of like, this is my family, I feel like I belong here. They want you to feel supported, and they do want you to feel that you can have a happy, bright future. It's just up to you to build that and create that and take the steps needed to have that, right? I do feel like with the dreams are closer than you think, I feel like there's a lot of like doubt, I feel, and insecurity around like, is this going to happen for me? Am I ever going to be the happy one? Am I ever going to have a happy future, whatever? Completely understandable. I've been there too. I do feel like your ancestors are wanting you to heal a lot of that. A lot of mental imprisoning and programming is specifically what I'm hearing. You know, I do feel like the people around you maybe have programmed you to think a certain way and to look at things a certain way in a certain lens, and it's very distorted. And I feel like a lot of what I'm hearing is that you're blocking out your happiness the more that these mental prisons are put into place, these barricades. And it's like, what are you barricading yourself from? So I feel like there's a lot of emotional blocks to overcome here. What was that? Oh, I heard a knock at my door, but no one's there. Okay, don't freak out, but like sometimes it just happens. And like, I mean, I'm kind of a bit of a spirit worker, so like I do hear things, I do get dreams, I do hear footsteps in my room. So anyway, we're not gonna deal with that right now because we're working with you and the reading. So okay, casually just gonna put that on the back burner. But anyway, back to you. What I was saying, I do feel that what's happening here is there's a need to overcome a lot of emotional blockage and emotional discomfort around emotions. It's not your feelings that are the victim, or sorry, the villain. It's just more so, how do you manage your reactions to your feelings? That is what your ancestors want you to ask yourself and start healing, if not already. If you are, good job, kudos to you. Mwah. Like they are supporting you. Okay, I do feel like there's a lot about stability. 444 is something that you may see a lot. Like, I feel like that's their guiding number for you. Or you could be born on the 4th. I don't know why I just heard you could have a 4-year-old. Okay, interesting. All right, well, maybe that's someone's confirmation here, no judgment. But I feel like a lot of you, like, what you're healing is duality. Just, there's a part, what I'm seeing is like this person is the projection of what other people want and other people's opinions, other people's standards, other people's wants and needs. And then there's the real you who is not influenced by that. And what I'm seeing is like, there's a need to heal. How do other people see me versus how do I see myself? And what's more important, the opinions and thoughts of other people or how I see myself? I feel like that's something your ancestors do want you to look into a lot more and get closer to yourself with. And with this as well, like, you see how they're all connected? I feel like your ancestors are very closely connected to you. I feel like you have really strong roots to them. Maybe when you realize it or not, but like, you do have really strong roots to them and they are connected to you. I feel like you're surrounded by a lot of spiritual support and help right now. So maybe you also work with spirit guides or you work with deities as well, but you're surrounded by a lot of like spiritual support right now. And you have been ever since you were growing up. Because what I'm being told, even though these people are very different, like gender-wise, what I'm being told is actually this is you. And they see all the different versions of yourself from when you were just a kid, a teenager, adolescence, young adult to adult. And here you are now, and they have been with you the entire time, is what the message is. And maybe that's more comforting to think that, you know, maybe we aren't really alone, that we think, you know, maybe the thoughts that we have that we're lonely is not exactly true. That there are things wanting happiness for us on our behalf. And it's beautiful. I feel like my heart is beginning to swell when I say that, because I feel like your ancestors really want to bless that area. They not just bless it, but they want you to realize the blessing it is to have a heart and to have feelings and emotions, because you're capable of so much, right? Take away the emotions, you take away your senses to perceive life, basically. It's like taking away your sense of sight or your sense of feeling, your sense of touch, right? It's like that. So that's what they're telling me. So incredibly interesting. Thank you so much for stopping by, Pile One. If you felt that this resonated, feel free to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to help the channel grow. Hit the notification bell so that you can know when I do post. And thank you so much for being here. Hope to see you again. Bye. Hi there, Pal 2. Welcome to your reading. Just to preface before we start, in case you skipped the intro, I just want to say not everyone's soul will look the same, and not everyone's soul is meant to have the same purpose, mission, or lessons. And it's yeah, some people's soul have like a humanoid figure, some have an animal, some have an object, some are just pure light, you know? So let's just jump in and see what we get for you. All right, we have the Page of Pentacles, and we're looking at your soul, divine wisdom. And then after, we're gonna look at any generational trauma you're healing and like what your ancestors want you to know. All right, so starting off, tap me in, Spirit. What do my pile 2 soul look like? Oddly enough, I am seeing like a stick. No, it's not what you think. It's really, really not. This is a supercharged, powerful, all-knowing staff, okay? Okay, bear with me. This is the kind of staff that has been passed around for many, I'm hearing family heirloom. Like your soul is like a family heirloom, basically. And I feel like your soul has had this form for a very long time. It's not changed. Interestingly enough, Pile 1 had a very different soul form, but for you, I feel like it's engraved to have this form. And I don't know if it's like a contract or a lease where it's like, okay, I get to look like this for like 200 years and then I change. Like, I don't know, but I do feel that as of right now, you've had this form for a very long time where you are like a magical stick, a magical staff. What does it look like, Spirit? Tell me. Okay, I'm seeing for some of you guys, it's like a wooden stick, and then it's got like a orb, like a crystal on top. It's like a greenish, purplish color, and it's very reflective and beautiful. And but it's not something small. It's chunky. Okay, we're talking chunky here, chunky little boy. But I do feel like this staff has been touched and held by your ancestors in the past. Yes, I do feel like this like your soul has been blessed. It's been handed down through many different healing hands. You have a very healing soul, okay? I will say that, very powerful healing soul. And what I'm seeing is that like when your ancestors, when your spirit guides, when the deities that you have worked with touch that staff, you're basically your soul, what they're doing is they're transferring their healing to you. And think of it as like a supercharged soul. Think of it as like a very healing, abundant, prosperous soul. And the crystal, the green and the purple, what I'm seeing is it's representative of the heart and the crown chakra, basically. And I do feel like your ancestors blessed you with this ability to connect with your heart and your crown, but also your third eye and your throat is what I'm hearing. So I do feel like that prism, that crystal prism, it's not just like one stone, it's many just formed into one, which is beautiful. I do feel like you have a very crystallized soul, you know, like the staff, and then you have like the crystal. That's where your soul sits. It doesn't necessarily sit in the staff, rather it sits in the crystal. So you have a very crystallized soul. But the staff is meant to support you and hold you up. And the staff is created like that because your ancestors, what they're doing is they're passing this basically your soul onto one hand and the other and the other and the other and the other, and they're like passing their divine wisdom and knowledge to you. And we have the divine wisdom here, which makes so much sense that they're doing that because they want to pass it down to you, you know. I'm hearing African ancestry, Caribbean, Jamaican, Haitian roots. If you're not any of that, it's okay. Might be for someone else. What else? Greek. I'm hearing Greek. Spain, Italy, Madrid. Hearing. I'm seeing a Greek word and I don't know how to say it. It starts with a T. It looks like a T, but you know how it has like those complex little symbols and like, you know, if you know Greek then you know, but I'm seeing that. What's that about, Spirit? What's that about? What's it got to do with this reading? What's that word? I'm hearing a man say it, like they're pronouncing the word that I don't know how to say. So for some of you guys, you really do have Greek ancestry here. That won't be for all of you though, but what I'm getting is there's a man that's pronouncing the word and he's repeating it almost like a command, not a question, but like it's affirmative, like it's an affirmation. What is this? I'm hearing the way of life. There's something about lifestyle here that your soul is invested into. I feel like your soul's mission, part of it is to have a healthier lifestyle. If the people around you did not have that, especially if they experience health issues or neglect, or they just abandon their mental health especially, I do feel like what you're here to do is to change that, fix that for yourself, and give yourself better. If I go quiet, it is because I'm channeling. Funnily enough, I'm seeing like a man sitting in a throne, and he's holding the staff exactly as I said that was your soul. I'm not saying that you have a masculine soul. It could be, maybe you feel that, but I don't feel like that's the message here. I feel like the message is that this staff has been held by a lot of figures. I will say authoritative figures. A lot of deities have touched your soul. So I don't know if you ever felt called to work with deities, or you are surrounded by many in your culture, or there's a lot of like, I'm hearing like Greek mythology again, like I'm just a lot of Greek ancestry here, like a lot of folklore and stories surrounding different deities in your culture maybe, but I do feel like you have a very strong connection to deities. I feel like deities are coming through strongly in this reading, oddly enough. And it is about ancestors, but it's okay, it's okay. We'll take it. Let's see. Maybe you work with a Greek god, Apollo. That just came to my mind. Poseidon, Zeus, Aphrodite. Who else? I'm hearing Venus. Like Venus is a deity. My friend works with her. What else? Yeah. Okay, what I'm seeing is like the soul. So you know how I said that your soul looks like a staff and it's got like the crystal at the end, at the top. What I'm seeing is that it's being pointed and directed. Wow. And like there's like a laser beam shooting out of it. Star Wars. Anyway, but it's like a laser beam shooting out of it, and it's got a lot of power. Okay, it's very supercharged. I feel like you have a very directive soul. Like your soul has a sense of direction. And I feel like you have very strong intuition. And I feel like when you know something is not for you, you will know. Like the feeling will come up. And not only that, in your dreams is what I'm hearing. Like in your dreams, you will be told either this is for you or this is not. Obviously, we all have free will. I believe in that. I do feel like your intuition is only meant to help you, guide you into making the best decision for yourself. Hence why it's very strong. It's very outspoken energy here. Do you feel like this staff... Okay, now I'm saying like constellations. What's shooting out of the staff is like constellations, which is so cool. It's like connecting the dots, but there's constellations up in the sky. So maybe you guys like studying stars or studying constellations or something, or into astronomy. But I do feel like the constellations up in the sky, I'm hearing Orion, like the belt. I don't even know. It's been a long time since I studied this, but like I know there's like a belt up in the sky, and then you can see Orion or something like that. I don't know. Why is this significant to the soul spirit? Tell me why this is significant. What's up with the constellations? What does this mean? Okay, there's something about direction here. There's something about like finding a sense of direction. There's something about the constellations being your map. Something about being very connected to the stars, the moon, the sky, and that basically being like your compass, being that is your direction, your map, and for your soul basically. And what I'm getting is the nighttime stars are very resonative of your soul. And that's basically how your soul communicates with the above. Interesting. It's like your soul... Oh gosh, I'm having doubts that I sound crazy, but I've done a lot of readings like this, and it's always so beautifully unique how it comes across. But I feel like your soul is very directed by the planets, the stars, and the skies. Maybe you love astrology and astronomy. Maybe it goes hand in hand for you, but I do feel like it's very connected to that. I feel like you're very much connected to deities, much more than you are your ancestors, but let's see. What's pile two's soul purpose in this lifetime, spirit? I'm hearing something about hierarchical power, but like in a deity sense. There's something about working very closely with deities to elevate your healing. There's something about medicine. There's something about herbs. There's something about that. Maybe you work closely with herbs and you do a lot of nature witchcraft kind of stuff, or you participate in a lot of like physical healing of the planet, like medicine, botany, herbs, teas. Maybe you cook with a lot of like intention, as in like, when I eat this food I gain unicorn special powers, or like I don't know, but something like that. And it's so unique. I feel like your ancestors, your ancestors have done these kinds of things before. Like what they do is they cook and they make quote unquote potions, but it's like tea and like drinks. And what they do is they put a lot of intention into that, and it's very medicinal. I feel like that's your ancestral power, is that you have a very healing soul, yes, but you have a very healing way of curing people and curing yourself and making medicinal remedies. There's something about that. There's something about your power lying in nature, especially. I feel like your soul wants to express this through herbs, teas, holistic remedies, homeopathic remedies. I don't know what that is, but but there's something about that. And I'm seeing like your ancestors keeping a book of all the recipes that they've ever used. Funnily enough, if you have a grandma and she keeps like a book like that, just know, I don't know if you've had like someone in the family practicing recently, like some kind of herbal magic here. I don't know, like maybe your family was definitely into like herbal witchcraft and herbs and stuff like that. But I'm seeing like a book, and I don't know if this book was passed down, but it's got like different remedies in it. And whether this is like real or not, or you have it, I feel like you derive a lot of wisdom from that. Like your soul derives a lot of wisdom from that book. Yes, to heal yourself and other people. I'm hearing metaphysical shop, so maybe you guys want to open a metaphysical shop, or you go to a metaphysical shop, maybe. I'm hearing like Om. I'm hearing like there's a specific, well, in our culture, in our Indian culture, we call it bhajan, and it's religious music basically. And you can think of it as prayer music and like cleansing music and stuff like that. Except it's obviously religious, but that's what I'm hearing. So maybe you guys have Indian ancestry as well, watching this. Could be West Indian. But yes, I do feel like that book has a lot of herbal remedies, herbal medicines. It's got a lot of like herbal nature related healing. And I do feel like your soul is very grounded in nature, very grounded in the physical, because I know some souls do not have any attachment to the physical. They're more so up in the spiritual dimension. But for you, I feel like your soul is very grounded in earth, very earthy, very connected to nature, and derives a lot of wisdom and experience from nature itself. I feel like nature is something that supercharges you. Even if you sit outside for like a few minutes, you feel much better. Maybe you like nature walks or hiking. Maybe you're inclined to do those things, because it is very healing to your soul. But I do feel like your soul is definitely here to, I'm hearing like spread a message here. There's something about how modern day healing is not necessarily the best option. Obviously, if you are very sick and you need the medicine, right? There are circumstances where, they're exempt from this. But I feel like what your soul is here to do is not negate the modern day healing. No, but rather add. It's rather bridging the gap with modern day healing, and then you have like traditional healing with like medicines, herbs, you know, things like that of that nature. And I feel like your ancestors were heavily involved in herbs, nature, and holistic way of healing. Maybe your grandma even pushes that to this day, or your grandfather, whoever. Maybe people in your family line still promote that because it's something that's been passed down generation to generation, right? But I do feel like your soul wants you to have a bigger look at that and how that can help yourself, essentially, is what I'm getting. Which is wonderful. Let's get into what you're healing in this lifetime, like generationally, your ancestors want you to know. Okay, we're gonna shuffle on camera. Spirit, tap me into my pile twos. What do their ancestors want them to heal in this lifetime, Spirit? In my pile twos, ancestors want them to heal. Okay, we have 40. Love grows love. Oh, love this. Also, people in your family line could have done Reiki. They could have done like a lot of healing touch. Or maybe someone in your family line is a nurse and they do healing touch on patients. I know someone who's a nurse who does that. Or what they're telling me is if you have someone in your nurse line and they do healing touch, that is a way of how the ancestors' practices turned modern. That is an example, okay? And I do feel like that's called bridging the gap between like what your ancestors used to do versus modern day. That's like bridging the gap, basically. So I feel like that's what your ancestors want you to do. They want you to bridge the gap with their practices versus modern day and find a way. You don't have to be a nurse, obviously, but like find ways to bring it into your everyday practice. Use your hands to heal your body. Use medicine and like herbs to help heal you. Obviously don't use them if you're allergic and like, you know, but just be safe. Always do your research on herbs, okay? And don't use any if you're pregnant. But let's see. What do my pile twos ancestors want them to heal in this lifetime, Spirit? Ooh. What do my pile twos ancestors want them to heal in this lifetime, Spirit? I'm hearing Athena. Maybe some of you guys work with Athena, like the Greek goddess. We have patience. Ah, yes, the middle finger cactuses. Love it. Okay. Let's get this deck. Where did it go? Oh my gosh. Okay, no, it's right in front of me. Okay. Spirit, tap me in. Pile 2. What do their ancestors want them to heal in this lifetime? Ooh, 28 victory. Ooh, okay. Alrighty, so I do feel like your ancestors, what they want you to heal in this lifetime, it's definitely about being patient with yourself in a healing way. Now, I don't know if you've been through an accident recently or had some sort of physical injury, or you do have an illness that you are managing, and I feel like your ancestors want you to know that it's okay to do things your way for your body holistically. Like if you want to start holistic treatments, if you want to start building a routine of healing for yourself, like let's say you're tired of the institutions, and obviously doctors are important. They serve some sort of purpose, right? We can't do everything on our own. But let's say, and this is going to be very specific, only for a few of you, but if you're tired of the institution pushing drugs and medicine and it doesn't work for you, and you want to explore with medicine, herbs, and stuff like that, and your own physical therapy, and you want to conjure up your own little healing ritual regimen, do that. I do feel like your ancestors want you to get in touch heavily with your body and caring for that, because it is part of your soul to express the knowledge that it knows about medicine and healing in physical ways, right? I do feel like it's very important for you. And I also feel like they want you to know it's okay to have patience with yourself. They want you to, I'm hearing patience is a virtue, and some people think patience is not. Some people think patience is a waste of time, and some people don't. But I do feel like they want you to know that it's definitely important to be kinder and softer towards yourself right now at this time. And they do want you to know that the love that you do give out returns multiplied. I feel like this is less about what they want you to heal, more so about the message that they have for you if you're struggling right now. I do feel that the love that you have given out is never wasted, is what I'm hearing. The love that you have spread and put out is seen and heard and valued very much. And I do feel like your ancestors just want to say like, hi, like we see you, we see how much you're healing and going through, and we support you. And I do feel that they're wanting you to exhibit a little bit more compassion towards yourself. Like, how can you be more compassionate and more gentle towards yourself? I do feel like love grows love, even though your ancestors are not here physically anymore. They want you to know that they're still there for you in the beyond. They want you to know that they still exist there and that they're still sending you love, you know. And you may not be able to feel it physically like a hug, but you will feel it spiritually if you tap in, is what they're saying. They want you to tap in more. This is a very grounded, earthy kind of vibe I'm getting from this group. So you could be like an earth sign, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. But as I said in the last group, the group before this, that earth sign energy is very dark because it's connected to the roots, the ancestors, and like generational type shit. And I feel like for you, it might just be the same thing, that you are very connected to your ancestors and the roots, right? I do feel like it's less traditional for you and more so about trying unconventional methods. I feel like your ancestors support that as long as you're safe, obviously. But I feel like they do want you to explore your body's ability to heal more, explore your soul's ability to heal. I feel like it's a lot more than just like healing the physical ailments of your body, but more so your mind and your soul. I feel like you are a healer, big time. Like you can heal your soul, you can heal wounds of the past, you can heal your mindset, you can heal lots and lots of things. And your hands hold a lot of power. I feel like maybe when you touch people or like you hug them, like they say that your hands are like they do something. I don't know if people have ever said that. They have very healing hands or magic hands or something like that, but it's interesting. And look, we have hands right here too. Interesting. So do you feel like healing is passed down from your ancestors to you through like the hands and like touch and like healing like that way, which is beautiful, 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 beautiful. But we have victory here, and I do feel like what they want you to know, they want you to heal any type of failure of success. Fear of being in the limelight, fear of being in the spotlight. They want you to heal that because you do deserve to be known and recognized for your efforts and your values. And you deserve to be heard and seen in this world, in this community. And I feel like your ancestors really want you to start celebrating how far you've come too. They do want you to start doing that. And I do feel like just like the moon has like different phases, they want you to honor the different phases that you have too as a human being, like going up and down, right? The moon has different phases and we find it beautiful regardless of what phase it's in. So it's kind of like, you know, give yourself the same care and compassion and awe as you would when you look at the moon, right? So talk to yourself gently, treat yourself gently, treat your body gently during this time. I feel like is very, very important. But yeah, thank you so much, Pile 2, for coming by. I really hope that this resonated and made a lot of sense. But thank you so much for being here, and feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to help the channel grow. Bye. Pile 3, welcome to your reading. Today we're going to be looking at what you need to know about what your soul looks like, right? And we're also going to be looking at what you're healing in terms of like generational trauma. But let's get started. Oh, I do want to make a disclaimer that like not everyone's soul will look the same, or not everyone's soul will be like a humanoid figure. It could be like an object, a light, it can be an orb, it can be anything, okay? We have the devil. Don't get scared. We're gonna talk about that. We have justice, which is beautiful. Okay. Oops, boobies. I gotta cover that. YouTube guidelines. But all right, let's talk about it. What are my Pile 3's soul? Like, what does it look like, spirit? I'm hearing Padme from Star Wars for some reason. Oh, Okay, for you it's so different because the other two piles, like I got like a biblically accurate angel for pile 1, and for pile 2 I got like a staff with a crystal on top. But for you, I'm getting a very human figure, like basically a human being is what your soul looks like. But what I'm seeing is that it's a very feminine soul. It has a lot of feminine energy to it. And I do feel like your soul, I don't know, I'm seeing like the soul, like the physical body is just pixelating, like coming off. And the only time I've ever saw this was with me when I did my own healing, my soul session. So it's interesting, I'm seeing it for you too. But hey, buddies, right? Buddies in the 5D. But I do feel like your soul is a very human figure. It looks like a woman. She's got brown hair, like curly brown hair, or just a lot like straight brown hair. Pale skin, big doe eyes. She could be like curvy. Obviously, if you don't resonate with this, you don't have to. Not everyone will. I'm not saying that this is what you have to look like physically. It's just like your soul's manifestation. It's very, very human-like. Very, very, very. I feel like the only difference is the eyes. Like, the eyes are just pure, stark white. I mean, you can see, like, the cornea and the iris, but, like, it's a milky white color. That's the eyes, basically. I feel like you possess a lot of power of the moon, is what I'm getting strongly from your soul. Like, your soul is blessed by the moon. And I'm seeing the goddess of the moon in a different deck. But what I'm getting is that your soul... Okay, for some of you guys, I'm seeing like this, like it's changing. At first it looked very human, and then it's changing into like white hair, white eyes, like super, super pale skin, white nails, like just like white, like the embodiment of the moon, if you can imagine. Like, and I'm seeing there's like... so interesting, like a star falling from the moon, and then it turns into like the figure that you have now. Like, you are a literal embodiment of the moon, like a shard of the moon, and you have this human-like figure. That's your soul. It's beautiful. It's like part of the moon just kind of cried out, dropped a tear, then you formed. Is what I'm getting, which is beautiful. And I feel like you're very connected to your body, the physical. I feel like you're very connected to the spirit realm too. I do feel like you are a walking bridge between the spirit and the physical world. Like, you're in between both dimensions all the time, and it might be exhausting for you, and you might find yourself absorbing a lot of energy from people and the places around you. So you have to be very careful with that. I also feel that because you are blessed by the moon, I feel like you do a lot of shadow work. There's a lot of things in the subconscious that come out in your daily life to be healed and to be looked at. And I also feel like because you are closely related to the moon, maybe you have like Cancer placements in your chart or 4th house placements, but you don't have to. I do feel like something about your moon placement is very prominent in your chart. But if not, I feel like you are connected to the moon a lot. And I'm seeing like your soul entering like a cave, but the cave has a dark blue glowing water. Think of it as like the H2O mermaid pool, basically, like that. And I'm seeing like your humanoid figure is walking in the pool, and it's submerging itself completely, and it's sitting at the bottom of the pool cross-legged and just meditating. I feel like you have a very meditative soul, a very still soul. And I feel like your soul, because what I saw previously of it being its human self, like the brown hair and stuff like that, I feel like it let go of that because it's not meant to be physical, if that makes sense. Like, the transformation, it went from being like brown hair, human-like skin, human-like eyes, it went from that to something more ethereal, because I do feel like your soul is not necessarily meant to be attached to the physical. I feel like your soul is all about the spiritual and all about grounding down the messages from the spiritual realm. Hence why you're sitting in the water and you're meditating. It's because I feel like your soul is in an incubation period, or has been on a timeline. It's been on an incubation period where it needed to be alone completely just to engrave messages. You're like a powerhouse of mitochondria, basically, just drawing in messages and information and wisdom and such like that. And I feel like your soul did a lot of deep work internally in your past lives. I feel like it did a lot of internal work that it ingrained in this current lifetime that you have. As a result, I feel like you are very connected to your soul, and you draw a lot of wisdom from your soul. I feel like water may help to ground you a lot. Like, I feel like you are my water pile too. Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer. If not, that's okay. But 4th house, 8th house, 12th house placements could be valid here. But it's like I'm sitting in the water and I'm not having to care of what's happening around me. And I'm still, I'm quiet, I'm listening. Very, very feminine energy. And it's not about gender. It's more so about receiving. That's the feminine energy. Receiving, opening up, being, experiencing, observing. That's the feminine. And I feel like that's your soul. Very observant, a receiver, a listener, a gatherer. I heard I'm sinking like a heavyweight. Makes sense. I mean, you just went under the water, but but I feel like your soul is all about stillness in this lifetime, and it's all about slowing down. It's all about hearing, listening. It's all about taking the time to smell the roses, basically, is what I'm getting. Is there anything else, Spirit? I do feel like your soul, like your ancestors, there's a lot about undoing karma. Now, I don't mean karma as in like, oh, you're responsible for someone else's bullshit. No. There's something about undoing a lot of negative narratives, and there's something about undoing a lot of harmful, toxic patterns in your family. And there's something about undoing there's a lot about undoing here. Now, I could take this as like your self-undoing. Maybe you have 12th house placements, and the 12th house is about self-undoing. I do feel that a lot of your ancestors, it's not your karma to hurt yourself, no. It's your karma in a way is to shed yourself like a snake. And then we do have a snake right here. And if you think about what a snake does, it sheds its skin over and over. And I feel like part of your karma and your healing and your soul is to quite literally let go of the physical. And it's interesting that I say this now, because I did see a very humanoid physical body, brown hair, doe eyes, and then like it just transforms into like white hair, white eyes, whitest skin, and like everything, you know what I mean? Like it's very interesting how I saw it shed its literal skin. But I do feel that for you, like your soul is gone through many transformations, and it's not, I don't feel like it's been one form for a very long time. I do feel like it's been trying to find its new skin, and I do feel like it depends on your healing and what you're doing in this current lifetime. That's the skin it'll sit in, if that makes sense. But I do feel like part of your soul's purpose is to right the wrongs of others and to right the wrongs of the past. Almost like rewriting history in a sense, because I feel like a lot of what your ancestors experienced was wrong, and not wrong as in like invalidating, but like wrong as in like they did not deserve that. Wrong as in they had no choice. They didn't have to speak up. They didn't get the choice to speak up. They were not heard. I feel like a lot of things what happened was like against the grain of their religion or culture and belief system. I'm hearing caste system, so like I know India has that, but some other places may have it too. But I feel like because they belonged to a caste system in the past, they were treated as less than, and therefore their values, beliefs, and ideas were unheard of, and their human self, literally emotions, everything was just abandoned because they were considered lower caste or caste system. But like There's something about having to rewrite that system here. And I don't know if you work a government job, because I feel like if you do or feel inclined to do that, it is part of your soul to work a government job and rewrite literally the rules and the system here. Do you have to do that alone? Absolutely not. There's help, you know, from your government buddies. But I do feel like your ancestors are strongly helping you rewrite a lot of rules and laws and limitations, especially spiritual laws that were never theirs to begin with. I'm hearing bypassing, like spiritual bypassing. There's something about, I think that there were many people maybe in your culture or religion or just practice that took the religion or the culture or the tradition not seriously, and they thought they could mold it or fix it to their liking or cherry pick it. And I do feel like your ancestors want to write that, because they want to set the record straight that that's not what the culture or the religion or the practice is about. So there's something about getting it right. There's something about doing it right. There's something about getting the facts straight here that your ancestors are very keen on. But what's that got to do with you? Let's get into it. I do feel like, as for you and how that impacts you, there were lots of values, beliefs, and narratives that were never yours to begin with. And as a result, I do feel like family tried to push like narratives that were not true, not accurate, that were very distorted. And as a result, your soul wants to cut through that bullshit, quite literally. It wants to like balance out the scales. What's true, what's not true? What have I been believing that is not true of my soul and not true to my transformation and journey? And how do I release that, right? So there's something about like constantly shedding your skin like a phoenix and rising again. And I feel like the water is your safe space. I feel like the water is where you go inward to listen to yourself, and where you go inward to really hear yourself and your thoughts and you. Because I do feel like your ancestors experience a lot of like drowning out, and like their voices like did not matter. So there's a lot to do with the throat chakra here for you, and healing your throat chakra and expressing yourself through your words. And that words are very powerful. Like what you tell yourself, what you tell other people is very powerful and is in your control. I do feel like your ancestors want you to focus on throat healing in this lifetime. And a lot about throat healing doesn't necessarily mean constantly talking and speaking, but listening, knowing what to listen, and knowing what facts are true versus distorted, knowing and facts don't have to be anything logical. They could be emotional facts. They could be truths about your journey, truths about healing, you know. It's just about discernment, which I feel is very strong for you. I feel like your ancestors want you to explore discernment a lot more in your lifetime, and learn to say, does this resonate with my soul's movement, my soul's vibe? Does this job, this person, this thing resonate with how my soul moves? Is it benefiting me? They want you to start thinking and asking yourself things like that. I'm hearing mykonos as well. I hope that's how you say it. Mykonos or mykonos. Interesting. But I feel very drawn to this eye right here. And I do feel like your soul is very keen on observation here about the things around you in the spiritual realm. I feel like you're a seer, you know, like people can't get past you because you see things first. You smell bullshit from a mile away. But not only that, I do feel like you are very closely connected to the spiritual realm, and you pull information just like that from the spirit realm. I feel like if you get into a meditative deep trance, it ends up accelerating your spiritual skills even more. And maybe that happened by accident, and then boom, you started seeing auras, you started seeing you started seeing so many things that I can't even describe, like using English words, because I also experienced it too. But let's just say you started mingling in the spirit realm a lot more, and it almost kind of felt like you didn't have a physical body. Maybe you experienced that because you are so very connected to the spirit realm. It's easy for you to kind of get lost there. But I do feel like a lot of it is the ancestors want to work closely with you from the spirit realm to bring in these discernment, these truths. You know, I feel like they want to help guide you to the place that you do truly belong. And I also feel like your ancestors, I'm hearing Baba Yaga, so like Russian ancestry would be interesting here. Like maybe it's important to you. There's something about frequency and vibration too. Like I'm picturing like these rocks are pulsating because there's like a ping going through them, and the rocks are rattling and vibrating, and then they're like lifting up, and they're like twirling around. Like there's a warp of energy. There's like a strong energy from your soul. Like your soul is kind of like a whirlpool of energy is what I'm getting. Like your soul is a harvester of energy is what I'm getting. So I feel like you do harvest a lot of energy, and your ancestors, you have a very magnetic soul. There's certain experiences and people and places I feel like that you are drawn to or attract for your healing. And as a result, you may feel like things are maybe fated or destined at sometimes. You may not believe in that necessarily, but maybe there are moments where you're like, oh, that feels really fated. That feels really destined. Like, that's a little too close. Like, I'm walking on thin ice. Like, that feels like a message from the spirit realm. You know what I mean? Maybe there are times where you feel like that. But I do feel like your ancestors are very, very all about the light. They're all about the truth. They're all about not staying comfortable and owning the truth. All about seeing the realness and authenticity in everything. They're all about cutting through that bullshit, basically. I do feel like you have a very strong resonance, like, in your soul. And there's something about frequency and pulsations and vibrations. I don't know what that is. Like, maybe you connect with music a lot, or music is a way you hear your ancestors a lot, or how you channel messages a lot. Maybe there's something about getting into a very, very deep meditative trance to connect with your ancestors. I feel like that would help you a lot. I just heard hypnosis, so that's really interesting. But there's something about, like, what I'm seeing is like your soul, like do you remember how I was talking about how it has like the white hair and stuff like that? Like that part of your soul, the transformative part of your soul is like sitting in the circle, and there's so much energy being shot outward from your soul. That is what I'm getting. And it could be why people maybe are intimidated of you, because you have such a strong energetic presence. I'm telling you, everywhere you go, you're like, oh, you're like a, whatchamacallit, like a satellite, pinging out information, basically. And there's something about your soul being able to interact with other people's soul because it bounces off so easily. And I do feel like protection is a must for you, because you do absorb a lot of information, a lot of energetic frequencies and information from people, whether you realize it or not. It's unconscious, right? So is there anything else, Spirit? Anything else? There's something about murals and your ancestors, like, communicating through murals of art for you. Maybe you're drawn to like historical elements, museums. Maybe you're drawn to like studying scriptures and like religion, and maybe I'm hearing like Protestants and like Christianity. Like, I don't know if you're into that, but there's something about murals and wall art that like your ancestors used to communicate through. I don't know if that may be significant to you. I almost kind of feel that like for you, like your ancestors really want you focusing on your own truth, focusing on your power to create truth. And I do feel like wherever you go, you're definitely not meant to stay small. I feel like your ancestors are all about taking up space, and they want to teach you how to do that, you know, without feeling that shame or guilt that you're doing so, right? But let's get into what your ancestors want you to heal. Put that here. Okay. Spirit, tap me in. What do my pile threes ancestors want me to heal in this lifetime? Oh, service 22. Lovely. Okay, so some of you guys could really have Indian heritage or ancestry, because like the long hair is making me think of Indians, let's just say their hair care is top notch. But not only that, growing up as an Indian myself, like, we strongly believe in the health of your hair, and like there's something about the hair just having a lot of power in femininity, but you don't have to be a feminine or a woman for this to resonate. But there is something about that, like hair holding memories, hair holding on to the past, hair being very powerful. So interesting. What do my ancestors for pile 3 want them to heal, Spirit? We have seek healing, healing moon. Wow, quite literal. Wow, they're very blunt. And we have love, day moon. Love this. Okay, so I do feel like what they want you to heal is your relationship to not just the spirit realm and like the spiritual beings, but the people around you as well. I feel like what they want you to heal is through relationships. I feel like you maybe have been through a lot of relationships or have been around in a lot of friendships that were very unhealthy, and you felt like you always had to take care of people at the expense of your health. And I feel like your ancestors are wanting that to change. So what you're healing a lot in this lifetime is your idea of love, your concept of love, and what love means to you, and what healthy love is in relationships and in connections with people. And I do feel like a lot of your ancestors, they speak very strongly through your crown. They really do, you know. And I feel like they are very closely related to you. They're related in the way that there's something about them passing knowledge through like the head and the crown, and that they're always like near that area. So I don't know if you feel a lot of pressure near your like your crown or your head, like the top of your head a lot, but I do feel like what you're healing a lot is being in very healing environments and healing community, healing people, healing spaces, you know. I feel like you're being called to be in a lot of healing energies in your life. And I do feel like this service card is not necessarily about what you can give to other people, although it kind of is, but your healing is definitely not centered around that. I will say it's more so centered about what you can give to yourself as a result of the narratives and the trauma you've experienced, right? How can you give back to yourself better and therefore give to the world much better, you know, and show up better, you know? It's the saying of like, you can't show up fully for the world if you don't show up for yourself, right? I do feel like they want you to heal a lot of that. Call to notice how this is like blue as well. I almost kind of feel like they want you to turn truth into love. Like there's something about turning the hard truths into like acceptance and love, and sitting with them because you know that your ancestors want the best for you. There's something about that. They want the best for you here. I'm also seeing like a flock of birds just like shooting up and flying in a very quiet day. So there's something about like release and freedom, and birds do talk a lot about like being messengers from spirit. And I do feel like what messenger spirit has for you and like your ancestors will set you free, and it's meant to help set you free in this lifetime. And I feel like a lot of the truths are not going to be comfortable, because the truth is not meant to comfort you, it's meant to set you free. And that means acknowledging our shadows, right? So I do feel that your ancestors are heavy on truth. But yeah, pile 3, that's what I have for you. Thank you so much for being here with me. It means a lot. I hope that this resonated and brought you a lot of clarity. And I hope that you have a great day or night. Have a great one. I hope to see you again. Bye.